Thank you, Nancy. I didn't know who she was talking about for a while. Thank you. It's an honor to be inducted into the New York State Hockey Hall of Fame. It's an honor to be part of this select group tonight, some of whom I know very well. And I just look back and think about how I got here. So here we go. On February 7th, 1977, I did my first MSG Network broadcast, the Knicks-Nets game at Madison Square Garden. I was filling in for Jim Gordon, who was supposed to be filling in for Marv Albert. But Jim got sick, and he recommended me to do the game, and I'm still with Madison Square Garden today. Jim Gordon, the late Jim Gordon, was my mentor and my guide to my career, and I can't thank him enough. He did so much for me. Things went well the next year, 1978. The MSG Network people came to me and said, "Can you do hockey?" And I said, "Sure." And they believed me. Here I am. I want to ask your indulgence to bear with me because I have 47 years of thank yous to hand out tonight, but I'll try to make them quick. In order to last as long as I have in this job, in this career, you have to have great people working alongside you, and I've had the best. The best in the broadcast booth and the best behind the scenes. When I started out, my first Rangers game was a radio broadcast, the Rangers and the Atlanta Flames, and my analyst was Sal Red Light Messina, nicknamed Red Light for his exploits in goal. But Sal was a great broadcaster. He's in the Hockey Hall of Fame, and he helped me a lot. In fact, he helped me soak up the coffee that I spilled on my first notes of my first game. But Sal was a great friend. In 1984, the wise people at MSG Network decided to put this face on television. I needed a lot of makeup. My first partner was Phil Esposito, Hall of Fame player, one of the greats of all time, great goal scorer, funny guy. We had great times together. But Phil knew the game as well as anyone, knew the whys, the hows, why a play happened, why someone scored a goal, but he refused to go to morning skates. And I would beg him, "Phil, come to the morning skates, you'll get to know the players." He refused. And I would say that virtually at least once every game, someone would make a play and Phil would turn to me and say, "Where'd this guy come from, Sam?" But we had 2 years together, and then I got him a good job as general manager of the New York Rangers. In 1986, John Davidson, who was a fine goaltender for the New York Rangers when he was healthy, and became a third man in the booth when he retired, but then moved to Hockey Night in Canada, became their lead analyst. In 1986, John came back and became my broadcast partner for 20 years. And he taught me all about work ethic. I thought I worked hard. He worked 10 times harder than me. He had satellite dishes from any place in the world. He knew all the games were going on, so I had to put this big, monstrous satellite dish on my house so I knew what was going on and I could keep up with John. We had 20 great years together. And then John also got a good job as general manager of the St. Louis Blues. So in came Joe Micheletti. Joe and I have worked together 18 years. I knew Joe as a player. He was a great college player at University of Minnesota, played for Herb Brooks, won a national championship, came to New York as a broadcaster for the New York Islanders, and then when John Davidson left, it was a natural fit for Joe to move in because he and I had worked together on the national broadcasts on Fox. We had 2 lead teams on Fox when they had the national rights from 1995 through 1999. There was Mike Emmerich and John Davidson, myself and Joe Micheletti. So when John left, Joe just slid right in, and he too has a work ethic second to none. Relates to coaches, relates to players, relates to executives, and there's nobody better in the business than Joe Micheletti. And then we've got a hidden talent as part of our broadcast team, and that's John Giannone. John is the host of our Rangers pregame show, along with Steve Valiquette and Henrik Lundqvist. Then after the pregame show, he goes between the benches, gets all the good stuff, the dirt stuff, but he doesn't use it on the air because you can't use some of that language, and we can't keep his mic open during the course of the game. But John does that, does his coach's report before the third period, runs across the street and hosts the post-game show, and is a vital part of our broadcast team. And then it's the behind-the-scenes people who make my job easy. To be in one job for 40 years, you got a lot of different people, but we have the best production people there is in the business. Kevin Meininger is our senior producer. He might be executive producer by now. I'll try and get you production, a promotion. Larry Roth, our great director, he gives you the feel every single night of what hockey is all about. Our producer now is Chris Ebert. Our former director was the late Bobby Lewis, a terrific director, and our former producer was Joe Whalen. They helped me immensely through the years, just letting me do my thing, never interfering, just do your thing, go out and do your job, and we did it all together, a great team that worked together. Then other people that are here tonight, want to thank John Gallagher. He and I worked together on boxing for many, many years at Madison Square Garden. John does a great job on the pre and post-game shows, on Rangers hockey, on Devils hockey. Terrific to have him. Paula McHale is our producer on those shows as well. So I've had the pleasure of working with Sal Messina, Espo, JD, Joe Micheletti, John Giannone, Al Trotwig was there for a while, and I can't thank all of them enough. They've made me the success that I've been at Madison Square Garden. And one other guy I want to thank is the man who hired me, and that was Joe Cohen, who was the head of Madison Square Garden. And he took a leap of faith with me, and I hope I've done him proud. I think I have. We talked the other day. Above all, one of the reasons that I've lasted this long is my appreciation of what the players are all about. They're the key to it all. They make it fun to come to the game and do the game. I'm watching the best players in the world night in and night out. And they all have stories. They all come from different parts of the world, from Finland, from Sweden, from Switzerland, from Slovenia, from Slovakia, from Canada, from the US. Great stories, great people, great players, and I have the luck and the privilege of calling their games. And of course, there are players here tonight who represent the greatness of our sport. Micah Ruzioni, I was in Lake Placid in 1980 with United Press International, watched every single game, and you and Ken Morrow and your teammates changed the course of hockey in the United States, and we thank you for that. Eddie Westfall, a good man, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, a terrific player with Boston and the Islanders. He turned the Islanders franchise into a winning culture. He was their leader, he was their captain, and then Dennis Potvin took over and made them a championship team, leading that team to 4 Stanley Cups in succession, an unbelievable accomplishment. I have to admit this, it always bothered me the chants at the Garden, that the fans would come down, you'd hear it dun, 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 dun. But Dennis cleared it up for me a couple of years ago. He said, Sam, they're not saying dun, 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 pot fan. No, they're saying pot fan socks. And I feel so much better. I can see Dennis representing the Rangers the way I do, and I'm happy to see him, and he's happy to see me. This is a special time for me and my family. My wife and my sons have put up, and my grandsons, my nephew is here tonight with his family. They put up with my crazy schedule and my crazy travel, and we change parties around. Hanukkah parties get changed. Instead of on the day it's supposed to be, it might be a month earlier, but they put up with a lot from me, and I thank them all, and I love them all. Hall of Fame means something to me. It means forever, and that's something that I'm very proud of, that forever my family will know that I sit in amongst a special group of people. This has been a great trip for me, and the joy continues. I thank my family, my friends, my co-workers, the fans, the players, the Rangers team, the MSG organization, especially MSG Networks, because this honor will last more than a lifetime. Thank you very much.